Welcome back to my series of James Bond reviews. So far we've covered Dr. No, From Russia with Love, and now today we're talking about Goldfinger. If you'd like to see my previous James Bond reviews, I have a playlist linked in the description where you can go through all my James Bond reviews. So Goldfinger is widely regarded as one of the best James Bond movies ever, and some even regard it as the best James Bond movie. And to be honest, I can totally see why. I've only seen the first 3 James Bond movies, and so far Goldfinger looks like it will be one of the best James Bond movies. The bar has been set pretty high for James Bond, and it looks like it's going to be a bit difficult to beat this movie. Before I talk about what I loved about this movie, I want to talk about my 2 problems with the movie. First is the first 40 minutes. They feel way too fleshed out to the point where it gets a bit boring. It's basically James Bond just meeting and spying on Goldfinger, and there's not a whole lot that happens in those 40 minutes. It feels like it could have been easily cut down 10 to 15 minutes. My other problem with this movie is the pacing. The pacing feels too fast, like Dr. No. And some scenes honestly feel like they were placed in the wrong order. Like there's this part where Goldfinger is about to kill James Bond with a laser, and it feels like it should really be near the end of this movie, but it's right in the middle. So things like those make the movie feel like some scenes were placed in the wrong order, but those are just 2 nitpicks and they don't ruin the movie at all. Alright, now that we got my 2 problems out of the way, let's start talking about the great stuff. Let's start with the story. The story is brilliantly plotted and executed, and it's basically James Bond going after Goldfinger, a ruthless person that kills people and covers them with gold paint. You're really excited to see where this story is going to go, and you can feel the tension between James Bond and Goldfinger because they met early on. And you also have a moment where Goldfinger kills one of the girls that James Bond is somewhat attached to, and so you're very interested and intrigued to see what James Bond is going to do to fight back against Goldfinger. And that was kind of missing from the first 2 movies. Let's talk about the action. It's amazing. It's awesome, engaging, brilliant, fun, and also digestible, which the previous James Bond movies didn't have. And the fight scenes kind of felt uninteresting. From Russia with Love had good fight scenes, but they weren't as good as they could have been. Here, the action sequences are pretty much flawless, and it also feels real. It feels like when someone gets punched in the face, they were actually punched in the face. Next, let's talk about the characters. James Bond is still great in this movie, but this movie also has other great characters too. Goldfinger is very intimidating. Oddjob is also very intimidating. He doesn't speak, but from the very first scene he's in, you can tell that he takes business very seriously because he cuts off a statue's head with his hat. And the fight between him and James Bond was also very intriguing. Let's talk about the women in here. They're the best so far. One of them feels pointless at the very beginning, where James Bond just used her to basically spy on Goldfinger, and I feel like that she could have been cut out of this movie. But the other 2 in here are great. One of them does have a plot that doesn't seem to go anywhere, where has some conflict between Goldfinger and she basically dies. And it seems like they could have cut that part out of the movie. But besides that, the women in here were great. In the end, Goldfinger is the best James Bond movie yet, and I'm excited to see the top tier James Bond movies and to see if they can compare to this one. And I'm giving Goldfinger an 8 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. You can check out my second channel, Nerd Nation Vlogs, in the description, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!